Obviously, COVID has impacted all of our businesses, but specifically when it comes to hiring, finding and training staff in this completely remote workforce has been a challenge. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the strategies we've been deploying to find and train people and how it's actually been a positive for our business. Stay tuned. About is 4 very simple tips that are going to help you to hire and train staff during these COVID times. And this is specifically helpful if you're not used to working remote or managing remote teams. My partner, Dave, and I have been building and managing remote teams for the better part of a decade now. So we're very comfortable in this ecosystem. And this is a system that you can apply to whether you're hiring locally or if you're hiring somebody offshore. It's a framework that we've been using to make sure that we're getting the right people in a short time period, paying the right amount, and then also making sure that they can handle the job before they actually start. This is all hyper relevant for us right now because we're going through the process of hiring a few people for our companies. And I'm actually going to demonstrate hiring for a content strategist position to support our portfolio of companies for how we actually go through this process and apply these 4 tips. So with that being said, let's jump on into the list. And the first tip is more of mindset than anything. There's a lot of companies out there, especially agencies. I work with a lot of agencies on a daily basis that have a mindset that people have to be local. All right. You got to sit over their shoulder. You got to see everything that you're doing. It makes training easier, building a culture, etc. But during these times, we don't have much of a choice. It's really hard to get people into an office right now. And even if you can, where you are, forcing people to come in when they might have somebody at home that might get sick or they're just not comfortable isn't the best idea. So you've got to understand, remote is okay. It's okay to have remote teams. It's okay to let people work from home. And it's something that going forward in today's marketplace, you're going to have some sort of remote element in order for your company to be as successful as it can. So just come to terms with it. Remote is okay.
Real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post weekly content only for my subscribers, like links to my private Slack channel, office hours, and free access to marketing templates and tools. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell.
Tip number 2 is not to overthink where you're finding candidates from. We've been using LinkedIn with great success. We've been using Upwork for years to hire remote staff. My partner, David, has been using a lot of different communities via Facebook. The DBT community, he hires a lot more of a developer skill set, but just understand kind of what position you're hiring for and where those type of folks might be hanging out. Unfortunately, right now, there are a lot of people out of work, a lot of people looking. So job boards are very active. Again, this content strategist position, I posted a job on LinkedIn and I got a couple of hundred applicants, all of which we were very impressed with. So don't overthink where you're hiring from. Just pick a platform, put together a job description, put it live, review the candidates, and then this feeds us into tip number 3. So tip number 3, this is the most critical part to all this, is to test them out before hiring. Because we're remote, because we don't necessarily have the ability to or want to really go through a very long, drawn out interview process, we just want to cut to the chase. We want people to come in and really be able to contribute to our companies and the job that they're doing on day 1. The only way to know that is not to ask them personality questions. While I am a fan of those as well, because I do think personality is an important fit for your company and your culture and how that person is going to grow within your organization. But for where we're in right now with COVID, with everything going on, we need somebody to come in and contribute. And the only way to know if they can contribute is if they have the skill set right now to do the work that you need right now. And the way that we do that is we pay them for a very short period of work that they're actually going to be doing the work that they're doing to see if they can figure it out. Now, of course, we caveat this with, letting them understand that we're going to train them when they get on board. We're going to provide them a lot of guidance, templates, tools, all the things that they need to be successful. But we want to understand if the right foundation is there for us to take this person on. And it's also important for them too, because you can get them a glimpse of the work to see if they're going to even like working for your company, working for you and doing the work, as opposed to hiring somebody and then going through the process of getting them on board and all that stuff. And then a couple weeks later, they leave because they hate working there or you hate them, either way. So what you're looking at here is an actual template that we use. It literally what we'll do is we'll put this document together. It's basically a brief. This brief just talks about what the job role is, what they'll be doing. It also discusses the training period. I like to pay them during this period. You don't have to pay them. But if you're asking them to do a lot of work, then you should be compensating them for it, because especially if you're going to take this work and move on with it. Again, paying them is completely optional. But I just find that when there's money involved and you're paying them to do something, then they are on the hook to do it, and the quality is a little bit better. And they also understand that you were invested in this process too. You're not just going out and throwing a bunch of spaghetti at the wall and seeing which one sticks and hiring that person. So we walk them through the companies. We walk them through, again, what the job role is. This is for a content marketing specialist. This role will require them to do a little writing, but also some content strategy, some keyword research, some putting together content briefs, etc. So the first thing that we're giving them is a writing test. And we're doing it very simply. We're just saying, here's a video. Take this video, watch this video, turn this into a blog post. And then we give them, some additional notes about how long it should be, just kind of the formatting, the general tips for how to put this post together so they can be successful. After that, what we're doing is we're giving them some of our company's internal training to watch. So, I don't want to sell you on the blueprint here, but this is why having something like the blueprint training is so important, because literally all that we're doing is we're sending them links to different videos within the training platform that are going to teach them exactly what they need to do in order to get this done. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give them, again, some more kind of concepts that we want them to learn and just to see how it sticks with them, right? It's not just about, doing the work now. We'll make sure that the writing's good, that they're capable of writing and doing the work right now to help us out, but also what is their potential? How well do they grasp these concepts? But even more importantly off that is, how do they ask the right questions afterward? Are they curious? Are they connecting the dots properly? Are they figuring things out on their own? These are the types of intangible things that you usually try to do with a personality test that you can actually do by giving them work and seeing how they respond. So then we'll also just give them, a login, what they need. And we're very, very specific here too, to make sure that they know that they can ask us questions. Again, this is a training period. This is not a test period like an exam period. We want them to win. We hope they all do well. And that way, if they all do well, then we're going to get the right candidate, and someone else is going to get a great job out of it on the back end. The third part of this is we're giving them a task to come up with 3 content topics. So again, these training videos here are teaching them how to come up with content topics based on how we do it. And then we give them a workbook to work in to come up with 3 content topics. Then we also just give them a login to any tools that they might need. In this case, it's Ahrefs. So the additional considerations that we put in down here just kind of spell things out in a little bit more detail. This basically just talks about how this is a 2-week training period. There's no due dates on anything. They've got to be able to manage themselves. Again, when we're going remote, there's certain other intangibles that we're looking for in terms of them being responsible, being able to manage their own deadlines that we can't really control, if someone's in the office and they're seeing you every day, right? So when you're hiring remotely, just like if you're hiring in person, you're giving them a personality test to see how they'll fit physically with your culture. We also want to see how they'll fit with our remote culture, because we need self-starters. We need problem solvers. We need people who, when they come up against something that they don't know, they have the tools and the know-how to try and figure out themselves, and then also communicate with us for us to help them out. So one of the most important parts that I have in here is this part right here. It says, when you have a question, write it down. You can email me or text me any questions that you might have. We can also jump on a quick Zoom call to review. From here on out, I work for you. Do not be afraid to ask questions. This is, again, something that so many people who are in the fortunate position to hire people get things a little bit misconstrued. At the end of the day, we're here to service our staff, right? I am giving them stuff that I am too busy to do and I need their help with. That's also why, maybe putting together a brief like this is a lot of work. It takes about an hour of your time, 2 hours of your time, what have you, to compile all the stuff. It was a pain in the ass for me to put this together, but 2 to 4 hours of my work is going to save me countless hours, right? And then we're also getting somebody who can take this content and move it forward to something that we haven't done before. So again, we like to use this this paid training period. It's been incredibly effective for us to quickly weed out the candidates, to get people with the right skill set, not just people who say that they're writers. We actually see it. And then we also give them concepts on top of them for them to grow and learn and then interact with us and see how they're going to react to the stuff that we're throwing at them and the work that needs to be done. So the fourth and final tip then is to also have very stringent training on the back end after you bring this person on. So we go through the process of putting them through some training to make sure that they're qualified for the position, they can come in and can contribute, and that they can grow and learn the position as well. And then after that, we put together a very, very strict onboarding process. So again, because we're not sitting with them to physically walk them through stuff, that they can go through this remotely and virtually. So this is one that we use for the blueprint training. This is for a customer activation specialist. Again, it talks about their compensation. We then go into much more specific details about their expectations of the job. It's really, really important actually that you get this to them. This is basically part of our offer, right? We don't give this to them after they're hired. We give it to them before. So we're clearly on page with their expectations. Spell out everything that you need to do, both from a daily, weekly, monthly point of view, and then also things that you expect the position to grow into. And then this is really important. This is our framework. We call it the 30, 60, 90 framework. And what it is the expectations that we have for them to grow into the position within 30, 60, and 90 days. So the first 30 days are all about learning, all about asking questions, all about getting them comfortable in your ecosystem, comfortable with your companies, what you do and the role that they need. A lot of this is just going to be, computer-based training, conversations with their manager, your superior, and then also really getting them to start to put action into what their role is going to be. The 60-day period at the end of 60 days is getting them to be basically working, so this is for basically an inside sales position. By the end of 60 days, we expect them to have like their pitch down, gone through a bunch of sales calls with somebody else before that. And then by 90 days, at the end of 90 days, we expect them to be completely self-sufficient. So that 30, 60, 90 gives a very clear framework, and coupled with the expectations for the position where, again, if you're not sitting next to that person and conversing with them every day, they know exactly what your expectations are, and they are responsible to help themselves get there as well. That's it for this video. If you guys want some of these templates, they're actually within the Blueprint training. We have an absolutely free trial. Make sure you go over to the blueprint.training/freebies to get access to a lot of these templates that I just talked about, and also a lot more insights if you like this type of video and training. As always, guys, make sure you drop me a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.